In the silent darkness of space, the Xeran Empire stretched their power across the stars. For thousands of years, they believed they were the first, the strongest, the only voice of intelligence in the endless night. Their fleets moved from system to system, conquering weak worlds, enslaving new species, and rewriting history to show themselves as the beginning of everything. In their archives, one truth was carved deep: the Xeran were first. Admiral Kor, commander of the fleet, stood at the edge of his warship's viewing deck. Stars glimmered outside like diamonds, but to him, they were nothing more than resources waiting to be claimed. He spoke with cold certainty to his officers. "We are alone at the top of creation. We will always be." His words echoed with arrogance, and none dared question him. But far beyond their empire, in a small forgotten corner of the galaxy, signals moved quietly, carefully, like whispers in the dark. These signals did not belong to the Xerans. They came from another hand, another mind, another will. They came from humanity. Humanity had grown in silence. Unlike the Xerans, they did not announce themselves to the galaxy. They watched. They listened. They learned. For centuries, humans remained hidden, studying the wars of empires, the mistakes of conquerors, the fall of countless civilizations. They built their strength not with noise but with patience, preparing for a time when shadows would part and truth would be revealed. The Xerans never suspected. When their explorers stumbled upon a strange planet, blue and green, orbiting an average star, they assumed it was just another primitive world. A fleet was dispatched to investigate, not expecting resistance, not expecting mystery. But what they found on Earth was not weakness. The first contact came through intercepted transmissions. Human radio signals, ancient by their own standards, reached the ears of Xeran science officers. Music, laughter, arguments, stories, cries of war, all sent into the void long before the Xerans had noticed this small world. It confused them. How could such a young race already speak across the stars? How could they dream of space before the Xerans even knew they existed? One officer brought the report to Admiral Kor. "Admiral, these signals, they are old. At least 100 years. Perhaps more." Kor frowned. "Impossible. They cannot be that advanced. This planet is not in our records. They should not exist." But they did exist. Humanity had not only existed but thrived. While Xerans boasted of being first, humans had already looked upward, already sent machines beyond their world, already reached for the unknown. The realization disturbed the Empire. If the humans were not weak, if they had grown in silence, then what else had they hidden? Kor ordered immediate surveillance. "Watch them, but do not engage. Not yet. If they are truly dangerous, we must know their strength before they know ours." So the Xerans watched. They sent invisible drones into Earth's orbit, studying cities, observing technology, listening to conversations. What they saw unsettled them further. Humans were not one mind, not one empire. They fought among themselves, argued, competed, even destroyed each other. But through chaos, they grew faster. Every conflict birthed new invention, every mistake carved a path to something greater. Xerans saw humans launch metal ships into the void, land on their moon, send probes beyond their system. And behind those achievements was something the Xerans could never understand: hope. One night, inside a hidden human facility buried deep under ice, lights flickered on. A group of scientists and officers stood around a long table, holographic stars glowing above it. They were not surprised by the presence of strange signals in orbit. They had known for years. Humanity had not been blind. Humanity had seen the Watchers. Dr. Hale, the lead scientist, leaned forward. His voice was calm but sharp. "They think we are weak. They think we are asleep. Let them believe it a little longer." The room fell silent. Every eye watched the holographic projection of alien ships orbiting the Earth. To some, the sight was terrifying. To others, it was the final proof of what they had always feared, that humanity was not alone. But Dr. Hale's eyes burned with something different. Not fear. Not despair. Determination. They believe they were first, Hale said slowly, but the truth is older than their empire. We have history they cannot imagine. We have scars that shaped us long before they claimed the stars. And when the time comes, they will learn, we are not prey. For a moment, the silence of the room was broken only by the hum of machines. Then, slowly, one by one, the humans nodded. Plans were already in motion. Hidden fleets being prepared. Secret alliances being built. Humanity had waited long, but their patience was ending. Above Earth, the Xeran drones transmitted endless data back to their empire. They believed they were studying a primitive race. They believed they had found another easy conquest. What they did not see, what they could not understand, was that the humans were studying them in return. The trap was not yet sprung. The curtain had not yet lifted. But deep in the hearts of both races, an invisible thread of fate had already tightened. Soon, the Xerans would learn the first great truth of the galaxy. Humanity was never second. The Xeran fleet moved through the void like shadows, silent and powerful. Their ships, black as night, carried weapons that had ended countless civilizations. To them, Earth was only another name to be erased from the map of the galaxy. Yet something about this world unsettled them. The more they studied, the more questions rose. Admiral Kor stood in his command chamber, surrounded by glowing screens of human transmissions. Music, laughter, and old broadcasts filled the air in strange harmony. To his ears, it was chaos. To human ears, it was history. How is it possible? Kor asked, his voice hard. This race has warred among themselves for centuries, yet they continue to advance. Every empire I have crushed grew slow, careful, fearful. But these humans, they fall and they rise again. The science officer bowed slightly. Admiral, their progress is not logical. They invent faster during conflict. They adapt. No empire we have seen works this way. Kor's eyes narrowed. They are dangerous, then. Perhaps, the officer whispered. Or perhaps they are already more dangerous than we realize. While the Xerans argued, far below, humanity was already preparing. Deep inside an underground facility hidden beneath the Rocky Mountains, military leaders and scientists gathered. Their walls were lined with star maps, their screens alive with alien signatures. Humanity had known of the Xerans for years. The world governments, once divided, had united under a silent pact, Project Horizon. General Marcus stood tall at the head of the table. His voice carried the weight of steel. We have confirmed their presence in orbit. Their drones watch us, but they do not strike. That means one thing, they are testing us. Dr. Hale, sitting beside him, nodded. They believe we are weak. That is our advantage. Let them watch. Let them think we are not ready. And when the moment comes, we will show them the truth. Around the table, silence followed. Each man and woman carried the same heavy knowledge. Humanity was not the most powerful species in the galaxy. But humanity had something the Xerans could not understand. Resilience. High above, in orbit, one of the Xeran drones picked up something strange. A human spacecraft. Small. Old. A satellite launched centuries ago, still drifting, still whispering messages into the dark. Its name was Voyager. The Xeran officer scanned it with mild curiosity. It was harmless, primitive, a relic of a young species. But then his scanners caught something unusual. Engraved on its golden record were diagrams, music, and even coordinates pointing to Earth. A message to the stars. A message saying, "We are here." He brought the discovery to Admiral Kor. They sent this into space. Long ago. Kor's face hardened. Foolish. They announced themselves. They begged to be found. The officer hesitated. Or perhaps, they wanted to be found. For the first time, doubt scratched at Kor's mind. No prey invited the predator. No weak race sent greetings into the abyss. He dismissed the thought quickly, but unease lingered like a shadow he could not shake. Meanwhile, back on Earth, preparations deepened. In a secret hangar beneath the ice of Antarctica, enormous steel doors opened. Inside rested ships unlike any ever shown to the public. Sleek, dark, and armed with weapons reverse-engineered from alien ruins humanity had found decades earlier. Yes, humanity had not only watched the stars. They had already touched the edges of alien technology, long before the Zerans arrived. Every strange crash, every fragment of unknown metal hidden from the public, had been part of a puzzle. Now the puzzle was nearly complete. A young pilot, Lieutenant Ryan Cole, stood before one of the new ships, awe burning in his eyes. To him, it felt unreal. Yesterday, he had been a soldier defending borders on Earth. Today, he was training to fly a craft that could leave the planet and fight in the dark of space. Dr. Hale approached him. "You're afraid," the scientist said quietly. Ryan nodded. "Yes, sir. But not of them. I'm afraid of failing us. If we lose," he paused, "there is no second chance." Hale placed a hand on his shoulder. "That is what makes us strong. Fear shapes us. Hope carries us. Remember this, empires fall because they forget fear. We have never forgotten." Above Earth, the Zerans prepared as well. Admiral Kor was not a fool. He ordered his ships to test the humans, to probe their defenses. A single strike team was sent, 3 warships, powerful enough to destroy a continent if needed. Their target was simple: one human city, chosen at random. A display of power. A message of dominance. The warships entered Earth's atmosphere like falling stars, their engines burning bright against the night sky. People on the ground looked upward in terror and wonder, unaware of the doom descending. But humanity was not unprepared. In the hidden base, alarms rang. Generals moved, soldiers rushed, and the experimental ships roared to life. For the first time in history, humans would rise from their world not as explorers, but as defenders. As the alien warships pierced the clouds, 3 human crafts launched upward, engines blazing, wings cutting through the night. Ryan Cole sat in the cockpit of one of them, heart pounding like thunder. The first battle was about to begin. And somewhere deep in space, beyond the eyes of both human and Zeran, something else watched in silence. Something older. Something patient. Something that knew this war was only the beginning. The night sky above Earth burned with fire. 3 massive Zeran warships cut through the atmosphere like blades, their hulls glowing red from entry. Cities below fell silent as alarms screamed, people pointing in fear at the streaks of light crossing the heavens. To humanity, the age of guessing was over. The aliens had revealed themselves. In the underground base, General Marcus stood before a wall of screens. "They're not here to talk," he said, voice cold. "They're here to test us. This is war." Dr. Hale adjusted his glasses, watching the alien ships descend. "Then we must give them an answer they do not expect." Above the world, the Zeran commander of the strike force, Captain Drex, activated his weapons. His ship glowed with energy, preparing to unleash destruction. "Target the city," he ordered. "Show these creatures what it means to stand against the First Empire." But before he could fire, 3 human ships rose from Earth's surface. Sleek, fast, and glowing with blue thrusters, they cut through the night sky like arrows. For a moment, the Zerans were silent. How could a primitive race launch ships so quickly? In one of those cockpits, Ryan Cole gripped the controls. His heart pounded, but his voice was steady as he spoke over the comms. "This is Cole. Engaging the target." The human ships split into formation, moving with precision. The Zerans expected clumsy maneuvers, slow reactions. Instead, the humans came at them with speed and daring, weaving between plasma blasts and returning fire. Ryan fired the first shot. A beam of energy streaked across the void and struck the shields of the lead alien warship. The ship trembled. Its shields held, but the impact was enough to shock Captain Drex. "Impossible," Drex hissed. How can they have weapons strong enough to touch us? The science officer on his ship shook his head. Admiral Core was right. These humans, they are not normal. The battle raged across the skies. Alien beams lit up the night, tearing through clouds, while human ships darted like hornets, too small and too fast to hit easily. For every blast the Zerans fired, the humans answered with clever strikes. Ryan's voice came through the radio. They're strong, but they're slow. Hit them where it hurts. The human pilots worked together, striking at weak points, forcing the alien ships to divide their focus. The world below watched in awe, millions of eyes staring upward at the first true war in the skies. But victory was not easy. One human ship took a direct hit. Fire tore through its hull as it spun out of control. The pilot's voice screamed through the comms before going silent. Ryan clenched his teeth, rage boiling inside him. "No more," he whispered, pushing his ship harder. He dove straight at the alien flagship, ignoring the warnings flashing on his screen. Plasma bolts screamed past him, one burning a hole in his wing. His ship shook, alarms blaring. Still, he did not stop. He fired everything he had. Missiles streaked into the Zeran ship, detonating in a chain of explosions. The massive vessel groaned as fire spread across its surface. Its shields cracked, then shattered. On the bridge, Captain Drex's eyes widened. For the first time in centuries, a Zeran warship had been wounded by prey. "Retreat!" he shouted. But it was too late. Ryan's final missile hit the core. The alien ship exploded in a ball of fire, pieces falling like meteors across the night. The humans had destroyed one of the Empire's war machines. The two remaining Zeran ships pulled back, their captains shaken. This was not how the test was supposed to go. The humans were supposed to break, not fight like predators. As silence returned to the skies, the people of Earth cheered. They had seen the impossible. They had seen their defenders rise. But in the underground base, General Marcus did not smile. "This was only the beginning," he said. "They will not forgive this. They will return with more." Dr. Hale nodded grimly. "And when they do, we must be ready. They believe they are first, but the truth will break them." Far away, on the flagship of the Zeran fleet, Admiral Core received the report. His expression was stone as he read the words, "One warship destroyed. Humans resisted." His officers trembled, waiting for his fury. But Core did not scream. He only stared at the stars outside his window, deep in thought. "Interesting," he whispered. "For the first time in centuries, we face prey that fights back. Perhaps," his eyes narrowed, "they are not prey at all." And in that silent moment, a strange fear touched the mighty empire. For the Zerans had just learned the first lesson of humanity. When threatened, humans do not bow. The ruins of the Zeran warship still burned in Earth's sky, a reminder that humanity had drawn blood from the empire. For ordinary people, it was a miracle. They celebrated, believing the worst was over. But for the leaders deep underground, there was no celebration. They knew better. General Marcus stood over the war table, his hands pressed against its surface. Holograms of alien ships flickered above. "They will come back," he said flatly. "Empires don't forget defeat. They come back harder." Dr. Hale, ever calm, adjusted the glowing map. "The question is not if. The question is when, and how ready we will be when the storm arrives." The storm was already moving. Far across the galaxy, in the Zeran capital, the loss of a warship sent shockwaves through the empire. To lose to prey was unthinkable. But to lose to prey that fought with cunning and fire, that was a wound to their pride. In the council chamber, voices rose in anger. "Humans must be destroyed," one shouted. "They are a threat to the order of the galaxy," another declared. But Admiral Core's voice cut through the noise. "No. They are more than a threat. They are a mystery. We must understand them before we destroy them. If they defeated one ship, they can defeat more. I want to know how." The council fell silent. None dared oppose him. The Empire would not rush. It would study and then it would crush. Back on Earth, Ryan Cole sat alone in the hangar, staring at his damaged fighter. The battle scars still marked its surface, black burns across silver steel. He could still hear the explosion of the alien ship in his mind, still feel the heat of fire rushing past him. A hand rested on his shoulder. It was Dr. Hale. "You did well," the scientist said softly. Ryan shook his head. "We lost one of ours. I couldn't save him." Hale's eyes were heavy. "War always takes. Remember this, Ryan, the measure of humanity is not in avoiding loss, but in refusing to surrender when it comes." Ryan said nothing, but inside him, something hardened. He understood now. This was not just about survival. This was about proving to the galaxy that humanity could not be erased. Meanwhile, strange reports began to surface. Satellites detected faint signals beyond Earth's orbit, signals not Ziran. Unknown ships, watching from the edges of the system, vanished before they could be tracked. General Marcus frowned as he read the data. "More eyes in the dark," he muttered. "It seems Earth is no longer hidden." Dr. Hale leaned forward. "Then the game is larger than we thought. The Zerans are not the only ones watching." For the first time, Marcus saw something flicker across Hale's face, curiosity, and perhaps a touch of fear. That night, under a sky full of stars, Ryan walked outside the base. He looked upward, wondering who else might be staring back. Were there other species, silent and waiting? Were they allies, or enemies worse than the Zerans? But before those questions could be answered, the Zerans struck again. Not with fleets this time, but with deception. 1 week after the first battle, Earth's communication networks were attacked. Screens flickered with strange symbols, satellites went silent, and entire regions lost contact with each other. Panic spread across cities as power grids shut down and planes fell from the sky. It was not a physical strike. It was something worse, an invisible war. "Their technology is inside our systems," an engineer cried in the command room. "They're tearing us apart from within." General Marcus slammed his fist on the table. "Shut them out. Use every countermeasure we have." But Hale shook his head grimly. "They are testing us again. This is not the full attack. This is only the beginning of what they can do." In orbit, invisible Ziran probes released waves of interference, drowning Earth in chaos. To the Empire, this was a simple message: "We can reach you any time." Ryan returned to his cockpit, but there was no ship to fight in the skies. He felt helpless, grounded, forced to watch his people suffer attacks they could not strike back against. But humanity was not without answers. In a hidden chamber, Dr. Hale revealed a secret to Marcus and Ryan. Behind thick steel doors, a machine pulsed with light, a weapon built not of bullets, but of code. "This is Aegis," Hale explained. "A defense system built from alien fragments we recovered decades ago. If we unleash it, it may shield our networks." "But—" he paused. "But what?" Ryan demanded. Hale's eyes darkened. "Once we activate it, the Zerans will know how much we truly understand their technology. We will lose the element of surprise." Marcus stared at the machine, torn. To reveal their strength now might draw the full wrath of the Empire. To wait might mean collapse. Finally, he gave the order. "Activate it." The machine roared to life, flooding Earth's networks with a protective wave. Across the world, lights returned, systems reawakened, and communication lines came back online. Humanity had survived the digital strike. But in the depths of space, Admiral Kor read the reports. His lips curved into a cold smile. "So," he whispered, "they do understand us. More than we thought." He turned to his officers. "Prepare the fleet. The humans are no longer prey. They are challengers. And challengers must be broken before others begin to rise." Far away, in the silence between stars, the unknown watchers stirred. They had seen the humans fight. They had seen them endure. and in whispers across the void, one truth spread. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was not prey. Humanity was rising. The earth was quiet, but it was not peace. After the digital strike, people returned to their daily lives, yet everywhere there was fear. Governments hid the truth, but whispers spread. Stories of alien ships, of battles in the skies, of strange signals. Ordinary people knew something was coming. In the underground base, General Marcus studied reports with a heavy expression. "They're waiting," he said at last. "The Zerans will not rush into another small strike. They will come with force. And when they do, Earth will feel the weight of their empire." Ryan Cole sat nearby, his uniform stained from endless drills. "Then why wait for them?" he asked sharply. "Why not strike first? Show them we're not afraid." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Because if we move too soon, we risk everything. Their empire stretches across hundreds of systems. If we make the wrong move, they will not just send ships, they will send an armada." Dr. Hale, calm as ever, tapped a glowing map of stars. "The general is right. But Ryan is not wrong either. If we stay passive, we become the hunted. If we strike first, we become something else entirely, a threat. Perhaps," he paused, his voice softening, "perhaps it is time the galaxy sees that humanity does not hide anymore." Those words lingered in the room. For the first time, a dangerous idea took shape. Humanity had always been on the defensive. But what if they chose to attack? Far away, in the Zeran fleet, Admiral Kor prepared his next step. His ship glided through the dark void, leading dozens of warships. The humans had wounded his pride, but he was patient. He wanted more than their defeat. He wanted to strip away their secrets. "Bring me prisoners," Kor ordered. "I want humans alive. I want to know how they learned what they should never know." The Empire began its silent hunt. On Earth, Ryan trained day and night. His ship had been repaired, faster and sharper than before. But his dreams were haunted by the face of his fallen comrade, the pilot lost in the first battle. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the fire. "You fight with ghosts," Hale told him one evening. "But ghosts are not chains, Ryan. They are reminders." Ryan met his eyes. "Reminders of what?" "That we are not allowed to fail." The next strike came without warning. In the cold dawn, alarms screamed through the base. A small Zeran strike team had entered Earth's atmosphere, not with warships this time, but with something worse, raiders. Black craft pierced the sky, landing on the edge of a coastal city. Alien soldiers poured out, tall and armored, weapons glowing with deadly light. Civilians screamed as the streets turned to chaos. The Zerans did not come to destroy the city. They came to capture. Ryan launched into the air with two other pilots, engines roaring. "We're not letting them take anyone," he shouted into the comms. On the ground, human forces clashed with alien raiders. Bullets sparked against armor. Plasma fire burned through walls. People ran through smoke and rubble as soldiers held the line. Ryan's ship screamed over the battlefield, firing missiles into the Zeran dropships. Explosions lit the streets, shaking the city. He could see the aliens dragging humans into cages, forcing them aboard transports. Rage boiled inside him. "Not this time," he growled, diving low. His cannons shredded a transport, freeing the prisoners. But there were too many. The Zerans fought like machines, precise and merciless. Human soldiers fell one by one, their weapons too weak against the alien shields. General Marcus's voice roared over the comms. "Reinforcements are en route, hold the line." Ryan pushed his ship harder, weaving between towers, firing until his weapons overheated. The city shook under the clash of two species. Then, in the middle of the battle, Ryan's radar flashed. A massive Zeran ship had entered the atmosphere, its shadow covering the city. It wasn't a warship meant to destroy, it was a collector, designed to take thousands at once. Dr. Hale's voice came cold and sharp through the channel. "Ryan, you must stop that ship. If it leaves, Humanity loses more than a battle. We lose our people. Ryan's throat went dry. But I don't have the firepower. You don't need it, Hale interrupted. You need courage. Sometimes that is enough. Ryan clenched the controls. Courage. The word felt small compared to the mountain of steel above him. But he dove anyway, his fighter roaring straight toward the alien collector. The Ziran ship opened fire, plasma beams tearing the sky apart. Ryan twisted, spun, every move a breath away from death. He fired his last missiles at the ship's engines. They exploded, tearing into its hull, slowing it, but not stopping it. The ship kept climbing, dragging cages full of captured humans with it. Not again, Ryan whispered. With no weapons left, he made his choice. He pushed his ship into a climb, engines screaming. The collector loomed before him, massive and unstoppable. Ryan, break off. Marcus shouted. But Ryan did not break off. He locked his eyes on the ship's core and whispered one final word. Humanity. And then he slammed his damaged fighter into the alien vessel. The explosion lit the sky like a second sun. The collector broke apart, fire raining down into the sea. The cages burst open, humans falling free, caught by parachutes built into their transports. On the ground, soldiers and civilians stared upward in silence. Ryan Cole was gone. But he had saved them. In orbit, Admiral Core watched the destruction. His jaw tightened. So, they are willing to sacrifice everything. For the first time, he felt something strange in his chest. Not anger. Not contempt. Something he had not felt in centuries. Unease. Because now, he understood. Humanity would fight to the last breath. The city still smoldered from the battle. Smoke curled into the morning sky, ashes drifting across ruined streets. People whispered Ryan Cole's name with awe, some with tears, others with pride. A single pilot had saved thousands, giving his life so others could live. But for General Marcus and Dr. Hale, the victory felt heavy. They stood in the command center, watching news reports spread across the globe. He was brave, Marcus said, his voice low. But bravery alone will not win this war. Hale nodded slowly. Yet bravery is what inspires a world. Ryan gave us more than survival. He gave us time. Indeed, Ryan's sacrifice had shaken humanity awake. Across nations, leaders who once argued now spoke as one. Factories turned to building defenses. Scientists revealed hidden projects once locked away. Humanity had taken its first true step toward war, not against each other, but against a greater enemy. Still, fear hung in the air. People looked to the skies, knowing the Zerans were not finished. Far from Earth, in the heart of the Zeran fleet, Admiral Core received reports of the failed raid. The destruction of the collector ship, the death of his soldiers, the loss of captives, all burned like fire in the Empire's pride. But instead of rage, Core was thoughtful. This species, he said, standing before his officers, fights with a madness I have never seen. They do not measure battles in victories or losses. They measure in sacrifice. His second-in-command frowned. Admiral, are they truly worth such study? We can erase their world. Crush it beneath the fleet. Core's cold eyes narrowed. Perhaps. But what then? If one world resists, others may rise. If humanity spreads their fire to the galaxy, the Empire itself may tremble. No, we must be precise. We must understand them. And then we will end them. The officers bowed in silence, but unease crept into their hearts. For the first time, their admiral sounded cautious. Back on Earth, Ryan Cole's sacrifice was honored in secret. His name would not appear in public records. Humanity still hid the truth of the alien war from its people. But within Project Horizon, his name was etched into the heart of every pilot, every soldier preparing for the next fight. One of those pilots was Lieutenant Sarah Lynn. She had trained beside Ryan, laughed with him, argued with him. Now, she carried his memory like a blade in her chest. In the hangar, she stood before her own fighter, whispering to herself. "I'll finish what you started." General Marcus noticed her determination. "Lynn," he said, "you're ready." She looked at him, fire in her eyes. "I was ready the moment he didn't come back." The next mission came sooner than expected. Satellites detected movement beyond Mars, Ziran scouts testing the edges of the solar system. Humanity could not allow them to map Earth freely. A strike team was formed. Sarah led the group. Her squadron launched into the cold void, engines roaring as they cut across the black sea of space. The Earth grew smaller behind them, Mars looming ahead. When they reached the orbit of the red planet, they found the enemy waiting. 3 Ziran cruisers, sleek and deadly, scanning the system with long beams of light. Sarah's voice crackled over the comms. "They don't see us yet. We strike first." The human fighters moved like shadows, weaving through the debris of ancient satellites and forgotten probes. Then, at her signal, they opened fire. Missiles streaked across the void, slamming into the nearest cruiser. The ship shuddered, its shields flaring. The Zerans responded instantly, their cannons unleashing storms of plasma. The void lit up with fire as the battle began. Sarah darted through the chaos, firing at weak points, her ship shaking under the force of near misses. Around her, pilots screamed into the comms, some triumphant, some cut off by sudden silence. "Focus fire on the lead cruiser," she shouted. The human squadron pressed forward, unleashing everything they had. The lead cruiser's shields cracked, then collapsed in a burst of energy. With a final volley, the ship exploded, fragments scattering into the endless dark. Cheers rang through the comms, but they ended quickly. A shadow loomed above them. From behind Mars, another Ziran vessel emerged. Larger than the others. Its hull glowed with crimson markings, its weapons humming with power far beyond the smaller ships. Sarah's breath caught. "By God, it's a dreadnought." The massive ship opened fire. Beams of energy cut through space, tearing apart 2 human fighters instantly. The squadron scattered, desperate to survive. Sarah's ship rocked violently as her systems screamed warnings. She barely managed to dodge the next blast. General Marcus's voice came through faint and broken, delayed across distance. "Abort, Lynn. Abort. You can't take that ship." But Sarah's jaw clenched. "If we run now, it follows us home. We have to hurt it." Her squadron regrouped, battered but unbroken. They struck again and again, but the dreadnought's shields held strong. It was like striking a mountain with knives. Hale watched the battle from Earth, his heart heavy. "They cannot win this," he whispered. Yet in the void, Sarah refused to retreat. Her eyes burned with the same fire Ryan had carried. "If humanity is to survive," she said into the comms, "we cannot fear giants. We must cut them down." Her words lit something in her squadron. The humans attacked once more, weaving through fire, striking with desperate precision. For a moment, even the dreadnought staggered under their fury. But the truth was clear. It was not enough. The squadron was dying. And as the dreadnought turned its full power on them, Sarah realized the terrible truth. Humanity's courage was not enough to win this battle. Not yet. The human squadron fought like fire against the massive Ziran dreadnought, but their weapons barely scratched its shields. Sarah Lynn's hands shook on the controls as plasma beams roared past her cockpit, each one close enough to tear her apart. Around her, pilots screamed through the comms as ships vanished into fire. "This is impossible," one cried. "We can't break it." Sarah gritted her teeth. "We don't quit. Hold formation." But even she knew the truth. Bravery alone could not destroy a ship built to end worlds. The dreadnought pressed forward, its shadow covering Mars, its weapons ready to finish the fight. On Earth, General Marcus slammed his fist on the table. "Pull them out. We can't lose the squadron." Dr. Hale, standing beside him, spoke softly. "They cannot outrun it. If they return, the dreadnought follows. If it follows, Earth burns." The words struck like a blade. Marcus knew Hale was right. Humanity had reached its limit. They had fought bravely, but this battle was lost. Then, something unexpected happened. The dreadnought paused. Its weapons dimmed, its engines slowed. Confusion rippled through the squadron. Sarah blinked, staring at her radar. Why did they stop? At first, she thought it was a trick. But then the reason appeared. Out of the dark, new ships emerged. Not human. Not Ziran. They were sleek, silver, and silent, their designs unlike anything seen before. They moved with impossible grace, surrounding the dreadnought like predators circling prey. Sarah's breath caught. What in God's name? The alien ships fired. Beams of light, sharper and brighter than anything the Zarans wielded, tore into the dreadnought. Its shields flared, then cracked under the assault. The giant vessel groaned as explosions rippled across its hull. The squadron watched in stunned silence. The mighty Ziran dreadnought, the weapon of empire, was being torn apart, not by humans, but by strangers. Within minutes, the dreadnought exploded, scattering fire across the void. The unknown ships turned, their sleek bodies glowing faintly. For a moment, Sarah thought they would attack the human fighters next. She tightened her grip on the controls, ready for death. But the ships did not fire. They simply hovered, watching. Then, as silently as they had come, they vanished back into the dark, leaving only wreckage behind. The comms filled with voices. What were they? Why did they help us? Are they allies? Sarah had no answers. She only stared at the empty stars where the ships had been, her heart racing. Back on Earth, chaos erupted in the command center. Marcus shouted for data, for recordings, for anything. Scientists scrambled to track the mysterious fleet, but it was as if they had never existed. Dr. Hale stood still, his eyes distant. They were watching. And now, they have revealed themselves. Marcus turned on him. Do you know who they are? Hale hesitated. There are rumors. Old files, whispers buried in archives. Long before the Zarans claimed to be the first, there were stories of another race. A race that walked the stars before empires rose. If the stories are true, he looked at Marcus, voice low, then humanity has just been noticed by something far older than the Zarans. The general's face hardened. Older, or stronger? Hale gave no answer. For the people of Earth, news of the battle near Mars could not be hidden. Grainy images spread across the networks, blurry shapes of alien ships, explosions in orbit, fragments of truth too large to silence. The world trembled as fear turned into something else. Wonder. Humanity was no longer alone. The stars were full of eyes. In the days that followed, Earth prepared feverishly. Factories built ships. Scientists studied the wreckage of Ziran drones and weapons. Pilots trained without rest. Every person knew the same truth: another war was coming, and this time it would not only be with Zarans. Sarah Lynn stood in the hangar, staring at her reflection on her ship's silver hull. Ryan Cole's memory still burned inside her, and now a new fire joined it: the sight of the mysterious saviors who had turned the tide. They're out there, she whispered. Watching us. Testing us. Waiting. Hale approached her quietly. And what do you think they want? Sarah looked at him with steady eyes. The same thing the Zarans want. To see if we deserve to exist. Hale nodded slowly. Then we must prove it. Far across the galaxy, in the Ziran capital, Admiral Kor stood before his empire. Reports of the dreadnought's destruction spread like poison. Whispers of another power, another race, reached even the highest councils. The empire had built its throne on the belief that it was first. Now, that lie trembled. Kor's voice was quiet but firm. The galaxy is not as empty as we claimed. Humanity is not as weak as we thought. And something else has entered the stage. His eyes glowed with cold fire. If we do not control this truth, it will consume us.